In Game of Thrones, King Robert Baratheon ordered Eddard Stark to kill his direwolf. The show treats this as realism, as raw power, exposing honor as being nothing more than self-delusion. But the problem is, in a real feudal world, that order would have ended the king's rule on the spot.
Architectural outcast.
To understand why that order wouldn't work, you have to understand what type of power is being shown. Martin is writing imperial power into a feudal world, and those aren't the same thing. Imperial power is distant, abstract, centralized. It can humiliate subordinates. It can override local loyalties. It can survive bad decisions for a long time because enforcement is impersonal and delayed. That's Rome. That's the modern state. Feudal power works differently. It's personal, immediate, and enforced by people standing within arm's reach, with a blade to hand. Authority in a feudal system doesn't come from the office, it comes from relationships, from trust, from reputation, from the knowledge that loyalty will be honored, not exploited. That's why you don't issue arbitrary commands. That's why you don't force public loyalty tests. That's why humiliating a powerful vassal is suicidal. Confusing these two types of power breaks the world. In that context, Eddard Stark can't kill the direwolf. Not because he's sentimental, not because he's naive, because if he does, he proves something fatal. That his vows are conditional, that his loyalty is disposable, and that his retainers exist at his convenience. And once this is proven, his authority collapses, not eventually, immediately. Within 24 hours, Ned wouldn't have a single sworn man. His house would be done. And Ned would know this. Any competent feudal lord would. But the scene frames it as honor versus survival, as if honor is a luxury that you abandon when power presses hard enough. In a feudal world, this framing is backwards. Honor is survival. Now imagine trying to pull that same stunt on Aragorn. It wouldn't become a dilemma, it would become a clarification. Aragorn might not even have to speak. Those loyal to him would act before he even did anything, because the order itself would be illegitimate, and everybody in the room would know it. Aragorn's authority doesn't come from force. It comes from the knowledge that he won't betray a vow. Loyalty to him is safe. That's why people follow him without coercion, and why his authority grows instead of fracturing. Tolkien understands something that Martin doesn't. He understands that moral order isn't enforced from the outside. It's embedded in how people relate to each other. Authority isn't proven by domination, it's proven by restraint, by knowing what actions not to take. That's why leaders in Middle-earth are careful with vows, careful with loyalty, careful with honor. Because they understand forcing somebody into betrayal doesn't strengthen authority, it destroys it. Tolkien shows this quietly. When the Fellowship leaves Rivendell, Elrond tells them, "You will swear no oaths." Not because the oaths don't matter, because those oaths matter so much, he refuses to put them into a position where they might be forced to betray one. That single decision tells you exactly how Tolkien's world works. Leaders don't trap loyalty, they protect it. They don't test honor, they preserve it. It's because they understand something basic. Once you break a vow, even under distress, the damage isn't symbolic, it's structural. This is where a lot of modern storytelling goes wrong. It inherits a shallow reading of Machiavelli. The idea that loyalty is fake, that morality is a mask, and power is what remains when you strip everything else away. This reading treats betrayal as intelligence and restraint as weakness. It feels adult, but it's wrong. Machiavelli wasn't describing a stable way of living. He was describing what fragile systems look like under pressure. Emergency logic, short-term advantage, desperate moves. These things can work briefly, but they don't work as a system. Exploitation carries interest. You can borrow against morality, but the loan will always come due. Modern stories have a tendency to take emergency logic and pretend it's normal life. It isn't. When betrayal becomes routine, trust collapses. When loyalty is punished, no one invests in it. And when morality is treated as self-delusion, authority evaporates. It's not realism, it's a system eating itself. Tolkien builds worlds where moral structure is real, even when it hurts, even when it costs people everything. Loyalty isn't naive, it's stabilizing. Honor isn't decoration, it's load-bearing. These worlds can absorb suffering because they know what direction they're oriented in. Martin creates worlds that feel honest because they expose corruption. But exposure isn't the same thing as truth. A world where loyalty is always foolish, where morality is always self-delusion, and betrayal is always the smartest move, can create drama, but it can't endure. Morality and honor aren't weakness. They're expensive. You can exploit them, but the cost is almost never worth the assumed benefit. That's not optimism or naivete. It's realism of a deeper kind. And that's why Tolkien's worlds hold together long after the story ends. Stories don't just entertain. They teach us what type of worlds are possible. When a story treats honor as self-delusion, it teaches that loyalty is foolish and trust is a trap. When a story treats moral structure as real, even when it hurts, it's teaching something much harder. Not that the world is fair, but that it isn't random. That choice matters, that vows matter, that some types of strength are invisible until they're gone. Once you see the difference, you no longer are caught up in the argument about which world feels more honest. You can see which one could actually exist. At any rate, I hope I gave you all something to think about, and until next time, y'all be safe. If y'all are still here, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. While you're at it, why don't you like this video, subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell. You can hear me yammer on about something else next time. And feel free to share this video far and wide.
Please like and subscribe. Please leave a comment.